My name is Tamaya Cox. I am the Deputy Director and Legislative Counsel for the ACLU of Oklahoma, the American Civil Liberties Union. We are a statewide organization, and one of our only missions is really to protect the Bill of Rights in Oklahoma. As far as my job, I'm really focusing on policy advocacy as well as activism, and that is really why we're here at the Capitol. I spend a lot of my days at the Capitol during session. One way to get involved with the ACLU is that we're a membership-based organization, and we have members, currently right now we have members in every county right now, so we're very excited. Maybe just one, but we're very excited to have that statistic in Oklahoma.
So we can contact whoever's in Comanche County then and offer our help to them?
Yeah, you can always contact our office. We've got one headquarters in Oklahoma City, and our office is reachable through phone, through email, and we have a website, www.acluok.org. You can always friend us on Facebook.
Can you tell me Can you tell me how we're going to deal with the anti-affirmative action bill that our Representative T.W. Shannon presented?
The anti-affirmative action bill is really something that is very important to us because in 2008, ACLU, along with the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, filed a challenge against the similar language. We filed it was an initiative petition, so we filed it saying lack of valid signatures. So when we were able to see it again in 2011, we're like, oh, well, we've been there. We know the talking points. We know why equal opportunity programs are important in Oklahoma. We know that Oklahoma has benefited from equal opportunity programs on the state level. So all we can do is really encourage that these programs continue to stay. One of the best things that we can really do is teach people what equal opportunity programs are. What is affirmative action? Not what people think it is. I mean, many people think it's quotas and set-asides. Affirmative action includes so much more than that. So one of the goals that we are doing this summer is really educating and going around to key areas and educating people what is affirmative action.
I've been wondering about that, and I thought about talking to Representative Shannon and asking if he could come out and tell us what kind of things we stand to lose, and I'd also be curious about what he thinks we'll stand to gain, but I'm especially, because I don't understand the reasoning behind the bill, is their motivation basically the business aspect, the set-asides that are going to...
Well, set-asides are unconstitutional. We found that out since 1970. So it's really concerning to us is why a bill like this very same language has been introduced in other states. And these other states, we saw the first in 1996 with Prop 209 in California. And we saw a dramatic decrease in women hiring once this bill passed. In Seattle in 2004, Washington State saw the same bill introduced and became law. There was a dramatic decrease in contracts awarded to women and minority businesses. So there is an actual effect, the negative effect that's going to happen if we pass the bill. What a lot of people don't realize are the other programs that are associated with affirmative action programs. We've got programs designed for young women, from young female students, to help them gain a career in science and math, science and engineering fields. We have programs that will be eliminated. Programs dealing with women and breast cancer screenings have the potential to be eliminated. So I think there's a broader sense that affirmative action programs encompass so much more than just, I didn't get into school because a minority did.
Right. Which... does that even happen?
And at the end of the day, no one's going to know why you didn't get it. It's pure speculation. No one's going to know why you didn't get to college. So it's unfair and unreasonable to suggest that a person didn't get in college because someone took their spot.
Yeah, it's understandable when people are hurting financially because of policies that are put into place by the same people who introduced this legislation to want to blame somebody for it.
Right.
That's what it seems to me. This legislation mostly offers us an opportunity to find a scapegoat for the suffering they're causing us anyway.
Real, and like you said, that's not just the case. I mean, affirmative action is so much more. And it's even, the language that will appear on the 2012 ballot is so deceiving. When you read the language, you're like, well, this is good. This is, of course, anti-discrimination. We don't want that in our jobs or our schools. But when you realize the history behind that language, the groups that have pushed these languages, these bills on a national level, you realize it's much more deceptive and much more dishonest than what it really is.
It's pretty fair for people in Lawton and that his district to ask T.W. Shannon to come out and talk to us about it and
I would
us.
expect his constituents to ask why he pushed this bill. I would Lawton, if I'm correct, is a very military.
T.W. Shannon went to a school where he probably had. I wouldn't be surprised if his entire faculty was
military.
White and male.
Well, right, and that was the thing. The military has always supported affirmative action programs. The military is one of the few programs that have actually come out in 2003 when there was an affirmative action lawsuit at the U.S. Supreme Court. The military wrote a brief in support of affirmative action. So it's always difficult when people come from this military background when you realize the military is one of the biggest supporters of affirmative action programs.
That's great to hear. Well, I know we've got a lot of military people who will support it as well.
I hope so.
Good.
I hope so.
So now we know we've got you fighting for it.
Yes, you do. You have me and a lot of other people.
My name is Madeline Stein. I'm from Lawton, Oklahoma. I'm here with the Lawton Progressives, and we're trying to promote women's rights.
You're born in Lawton?
Yes, and this is the first time I've ever been to the Capitol.
It's the first time you've been to the Capitol?
Yes, and the first time I've ever seen the Dome.
And the first time you've been in a protest?
Yes, the first time I've ever been in a protest.
What's it like being in a protest?
It's really awesome. I kind of thought maybe it was going to be more like a little more dissenting, but it was very civilized, and there was like people who spoke from like Planned Parenthood and stuff. They were very professional, which not that I'm disappointed, but like I was ready to just really get in there and just yell stuff at people and confront senators. It wasn't quite what I thought it would be, but it's been an awesome experience.
That'll happen.
I would like to say
the pink hurricane next time.
I would like to say that I feel that women are oppressed in the state of Oklahoma. We have the #1 prison population and the #1 private prisons per capita for people, and I think it's wrong that the same people who benefit from the private prisons are passing the laws that put more nonviolent criminals in prison. Over 78 to 80% of people in prison have children, and it's like the man comes and takes your mom away, and it's over just like the smallest thing. I just saw in the Young Turks there was a woman in jail who had written some bad checks and committed forgery, and it was a law that's only a felony in Oklahoma, and she got 20 years. Why are we paying $850,000 to lock up this mother of 4, and not to mention the welfare and foster care for her 4 kids, over $1,200? Not only is it cruel and it's overbearing, but it's not economically feasible, and all these people that talk about fiscal responsibility, oppressing people is expensive too.
I'm Charlotte Cornell. I'm from
Cornell.
Women in Black.
Women in Black. Is that a national organization?
It's actually an international organization. It's a grassroots women's organization that probably had its origins in Argentina. But the modern movement is modern, meaning from the 90s on. It was actually Israeli and Palestinian women coming together and opposing the violence there in Israel.
Are you here when you come out here Thursdays at noon, right? Is that right?
In May, earlier in the session, I was here Monday through Friday.
Oh, you were here every day standing out here?
Only Monday through Friday.
Well, Monday through Friday. Which is beautiful. And you invite anyone to come with an empty plate and stand?
Anyone who has an empty plate. There are thousands of people in this country that are participating in a rolling fast.
Right.
Because a lot of us have a choice of whether or not we eat.
Right.
When I volunteer in the Norman, Oklahoma public schools, the teachers sometimes ask the students, how many of you have eaten this morning? And they don't ask that question because they're curious. It's because they know that some of those kids have come to school without food.
Hungry, and they have to eat. So you're fighting for choice in a lot of ways because you're fighting for a woman's right to choose, you're fighting for women's rights, and you're fighting for everybody's choice of whether to eat or not.
One of my major objections, and major objection of Women in Black, is violence. And probably the most pervasive form of violence towards women and children in the state of Oklahoma, besides the incarceration, is hunger. And it affects elderly women, it affects pregnant women, and affects their children. And once it starts affecting their children, it affects women.
Right. And of course this legislation that we're especially concerned with right now, the effort to defund Planned Parenthood has also defunded WIC, which means more women and babies are going to go without food.
Exactly. More women and children are going to go without food because they've decided that they want to defund Planned Parenthood because they believe that there's some relationship with abortion, which there is not. And if they were
there's no federal funding for abortion.
If they were all informed, they would realize that there is no public funding for abortion through Planned Parenthood. But that doesn't seem to be the issue for them. But taking food away from children does seem to be something they're very good at.
Yeah.
So they're defunding Planned Parenthood. They've also made sure that children are getting thrown out of programs like Head Start, where they also get food. And they are making sure that groups like Mobile Meals and so forth, or Meals on Wheels as other people know, is not getting funding. So they're affecting women, all age groups. And Planned Parenthood is one of the most active groups as far as opposing this cut of food for human beings.
Yeah, they provide services other than abortion, but they are, I think, one of the only places that do help women get abortions when they need them in this state.
Yeah, unfortunately, the children are not able to organize and come out here and petition.
So we're coming out. Okay, so you're a part of the Rolling Fast.
So anyone who wants to bring an empty plate out here and join me, I actually had to go get a petition, a permit to come out here, and
but we can join you.
And this permit will allow me to have other people join me.
Okay, and are you going to go every Thursday in May, or?
Until the session's over.
Well, is there a place online we can find you so we can keep up with your activities?
Yes, there is a blog called Oklahoma Women in Black.
Okay.
And I also have a Facebook page. My name is Charlotte Cornell.
Charlotte Cornell.
And it's posted on there.
Okay.
And if at any time I were to change the location, for instance, when the legislators we may move to the governor's
Excellent
office.
It was nice meeting you. Let me give you a hug. You're wonderful.